All right, welcome to the October 16th, 2019 Conservation Commission meeting.
You know, every month they.
If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two quick things, one quick thing before we start the meeting. This weekend is Waters Farm Days. I'm going to turn the floor over to Joyce, and she's going to explain it. And we appreciate all the work that Wanda and Joyce do for this throughout the years, not just at Waters Farm time. So,
as some of you may or may not know, Waters Farm was gifted to the town by Dorothea Waters Moran in 1987. So it's been town-owned since then, but it's run by Waters Farm Incorporated, which is a group of us that have a nonprofit that run it. Unfortunately, the last few years, we've had rain, 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 rain. Hopefully this weekend, we're gonna have sun, 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 sun. And the profits go back into the farm, so our coffers are getting pretty low. So we have a lot of activities going on. The Lumberjack Show is not gonna happen this year, and I've never gotten to see it. But they've expanded the kids' activities. For the kids, there's gonna be games, bounce house, photo booth, face painting, children's theater, petting zoo, crafts, and obstacle course. There's going to be a car show on Sunday only, and the farm tractor pulling is both days. The house will be open both days, and we're going to have tours on the half hour and the hour, so we're gonna try to get people to go through in groups. There's an apple pie baking contest on Sunday. I've retired from that because I've gotten the first, second, and third, so I figured I'd retire. Food, snacks, crafters. So please join us at Waters Farm on Sunday, and I'll be in the house giving tours, so come see me. Thank you.
excellent. All right, first thing on the agenda is going to be 28 Hemlock Drive. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. at the Sutton Town Hall 4, Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for determination of applicability submitted to the Conservation Commission by Kelly Salmon, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of removal of 4 dead trees on map 15, parcels 42 on 28 Hemlock Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Come on up. We're all paid up on this, and we don't need mailers on this, so we're good, right? Okay. All right. So just explain a little bit about your project.
We have,
What was it?
nice hit.
Flag.
Oh.
Yeah. We have, there's a lot of trees on our property. We're right on Singletary. There are 4 large old oak trees. 3 of them share a common base.
Mm-hmm.
And they have died, unfortunately, in the past 2 years. So the tree that shares a base, and there's 3 large trees that come out. There's one that is leaning right towards our neighbor, that is completely dead, and if that were to fall, it would definitely hit their house.
Mhm.
The middle one is mostly dead, and then the third one still has leaves on it, but if you cut down to, you're gonna lose that one too soon. Then there's another large oak, maybe 10 feet back from that, 10 yards back from that, that has died as well, and that's also, if it were to fall, would hit our neighbor.
Mhm.
So we had a tree, someone who cuts, Steve Lavoy, come out and check it out, and, but then also Jay Emmett, the arborist, come out to, and he's the one who wrote the letter.
Mhm.
So we don't wanna take them down because we wanna build something or whatever, we wanna take them down for safety.
Right. Understandable. Do you have any pictures of the, yeah, could you mind just pulling up a picture of it?
No.
Visuals always, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah, that's okay. Actually, I took a picture the other day, cause we have our family reunion here every year, and they're gonna be bummed, because,
They won't have the shade?
yeah, it's a beautiful area. Let me
drawing right here.
They are, yeah.
I don't know if that's on this too.
It's right there.
Yeah, the three
So-
with the triple trunk at 35 feet from the water, and then the one behind it is 43 feet from the water.
So
Okay.
if you look, I'll start down here and make
Yeah,
my way down,
absolutely.
okay? So if you look, this is our front yard. This is the three that come together. And then you can just barely, right about here is where the fourth one is. You know, the Bergsons, Carl and Penny Bergson, they're our neighbors, and so their house is right over here. So there's two that would hit their house if they go. So, I don't know if that helps, but they're, I know I wrote it down on the sheet,
Perfect.
but they're
Yep.
about 30-ish feet from
Mhm.
the water.
Yep.
And, we wanna get it
So
taken care of before.
These are the three in this one?
These are the three, and then actually the fourth one isn't pictured in this
Okay.
particular picture, but it's right in this area here.
Right. And you're proposing to, where was it here? Take down those and replace them with,
We hadn't
Alright,
really,
so-
we know we need to replace them, we hadn't,
okay,
actually, a couple people had mentioned that we could replace them with blueberry bushes, which,
replace the 4 remain trees with new saplings, that's what it says here.
yeah, we kinda left it blank, cause we, honestly, I'm not a plant person, so I don't
Yeah,
really know
gotcha.
what we
Yeah,
should
no
replace it
problem.
with.
Well, it has to
but-
be native species.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wanna replace it with whatever is gonna take, cause I'm not good with
What's
plants,
good there,
so I-
Brandon, like a
you
red
know.
maple?
Yeah, that's a perfect thing right there.
Oh, red maple's
R-
beautiful.
Red
yeah.
maple would be
They're
a,
beautiful in the fall.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So 4 red maples or,
Do I have to decide now?
Not really if they're native,
No,
right?
as long as
Yeah.
they're native saplings, it's fine.
Okay. Two people did mention blueberry bushes. Is that okay if I did like maybe a couple of blueberry bushes, a couple of red maples or something like that, or?
usually it's 2 to 1 for the shrubs because, you know,
Cause they're
it's,
so small.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Much room on the frontage, Brandon, for along the water there? Is there a spot that they'll take, or?
Do you have a retaining wall at the water?
Mhm.
Right, so the closer to the water, the better, is the rule with, shrubbery anyway.
Okay. For
Yeah.
shrubbery.
See, what the commission does, I'm sure we have a letter from Paul Lavoie saying these are dangerous trees, and that's all there is to it.
Mhm.
What the commission tries to avoid is a situation like this, one person could view it as, well, these trees are in the way of a really nice view.
Oh yeah, they're not in the way of anyone's view.
Right, well, commission gets that a lot, and then nobody wants to replace them with other trees, because
Sure.
then it's gonna eventually ruin the view again, which is why they require, if you're gonna do shrubs, you gotta do it multiple.
Mhm.
And the idea is to create a little vegetated buffer area to help with, water quality and to a certain degree wildlife habitat. And the idea is to try to get them close to the water, because that's where they have the most benefit.
Okay. I have no problem with that. These are definitely not blocking any view.
Mhm.
In fact, I think they enhance the view from where they are right now.
Perfect.
We have a lot of vegetation already by the water that the ducks like to hang out in, so, adding more would be fine.
Does anybody on the board have anything about this? So I think we could just, issue a negative with, just if we replace the trees, they have to be the same location or closer to the water, or shrubs, it's two per tree.
2 to 1.
Yep.
We can do that.
It would be better if you mixed the trees and the shrubs, you know, if you're taking
Yeah.
down for a couple of trees and,
Go ahead, Zach.
Brandon, for the red maple, would that be vulnerable to the Asian longhorn beetle?
No,
No, okay. Okay.
they really like the, Norway maple.
Okay. I knew it was one of them, I just wanted to check.
Well,
The
not
thing
the
is
one
though,
we
is
don't have
that
'em
there's
yet.
hardly a tree out there anymore that isn't susceptible to some kind of disease or insect. So, there's some that we do try to avoid, any kind of, non-native tree. And hemlock has been out for a while because they get the lily adelgid, and they've been dying left and right. Even ash trees now are having trouble with the emerald ash borer. And it's like, then you get the gypsy moss eating the oaks, it's like, you can't win, you
Yeah.
gotta pick one.
I think that's what actually killed these oaks.
I've
was the gypsy
seen
moths, you know?
so many dead oak trees,
Yeah.
just from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
big.
Right, I'll take a motion. on
Make a
this.
motion to issue a negative.
Close the public
Oh.
hearing.
Sorry
Make a
about that.
motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 28 Hemlock Drive, with the understanding 4 trees will be removed with 2 to 1 for blueberry bushes or a native bush, and 1 to 1 for a tree.
Another tree.
At your choice.
Okay.
Second, anybody?
With the bushes being placed as close to the water as possible.
What he said.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Thank
all
you.
set, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Sure.
All right. Let's go back in. You get the hang of it. Back to 17 Nash. All right. This needs to go back with that too, Mike.
Stick this with the-
Yeah, that's, you can stick it on top or underneath, it doesn't matter. We didn't really have a plan to sign, so.
All these, Travis.
Do I have to sign this?
No,
Excellent. Next up on the agenda is 17 Marsh Road. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2019, at 6:40 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by William Talcott in Sutton, Mass. The project consists of construction of a patio, retaining walls, associated grading and landscaping on map 8, parcel 15, 17 Marsh Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Welcome.
Good evening. For the record, Travis Brown, Andrews Survey and Engineering, here on behalf of Bill Talcott, who's also in attendance for his property.
You have the green cards on it,
I just mentioned that to
Bring
Wanda.
them to me. He
I
was
do.
gonna go back and get them, but I told him just bring them.
Okay, yeah, you have them though.
I do.
Okay.
I can either get them tonight or in the morning.
Morning. And any other applications with any other boards?
There's not.
No applications. Go ahead.
So Mr. Talcott owns this existing single-family house at 17 Marsh Road. Just for orientation on the plan, Marsh Road is here towards the bottom of the page. North is straight up. This property is accessed by a driveway that runs from here down into the property. There's an existing single-family house here, an existing deck, an existing wood patio. What Mr. Talcott would like to do is do a proposed patio, which we've shown in this location here. Enhance some plantings in an area here between that wood patio and the deck, and then that proposed patio area. Currently, the site is vegetated with sparse lawn, so it's prone to erosion. It's a fairly steep slope, between 15–20% slopes. The vegetation doesn't really hold well, so there's erosion kinda on this hill on that slope. In addition, there's some erosion at the water line, which is just basically grass down to that water line. You can see, I don't know if anybody's been on site, but that area is kinda eroding in and out.
I have pictures eventually.
Okay. So there's a couple flower boxes down there currently. We're proposing to remove those. What we plan on doing down near the water is a riprap slope to help stabilize that, minimize that erosion that's kinda happening. In addition, that patio would be here. So what would happen, standing at the existing deck at the back of the house, you'd walk down a stone, there's an existing stone walk that leads down to the water. That portion would be replaced from that deck to the new patio. A set of stairs would provide access to that patio, which would be sitting at a lower level, approximately 3 feet lower than this upper side. That would be generally level across that patio. There would be a retaining wall, about a 3-foot retaining wall there, and then a couple of steps down to that existing walkway, which Mr. Talcott would replace that. Right now, it's kind of natural stone, kind of, I don't know, I'd call it flagstone, I guess, a little bit, that leads down to that. So that's kind of the changes. All this work is within the existing lawn area. There's no tree removal necessary down in that area. We have identified 8 trees to be cut as part of this project. We've received a letter today from an arborist stating that those were, unsafe because they're in proximity to the existing house. We've identified those. There's 3 out here, which is, these 2 are outside the 100-foot from the lake. That one would be just inside, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closer to the water. So as you can see, they're in pretty close proximity to the patio, to the deck, to the existing house. So to mitigate that, we have identified some plantings, which on this blow up, this would be the riprap area against Singletary Lake. Identified 8 high bush blueberries on top of that slope. Feel like in addition to that riprap slope, that's gonna provide some stabilization of that slope. We've also proposed some plantings here along the edge of that existing tree line. And then this area up in here, which is currently just grass, again, not very dense, prone to erosion, that would be stabilized with additional plantings and then a kind of a stone mulch, which would allow some infiltration into the ground. Feel like that will reduce runoff towards Singletary, try to help prevent some of that erosion that's currently happening. So like I said, there's 8 trees being cut down. We're proposing 22 total shrubs. Again, 8 along the water, which I know the commission looks for. And then some adjacent to that wood line, and then the rest of them, kind of a landscape area between the house and that patio. So that's the gist of it. The only other thing Mr. Talcott would like to do is add this 8x14 shed, similar to a lot of other properties on the water, to store life jackets and floats and things of that nature. One thing that was identified in the narrative, so we are proposing an outdoor shower here. This location, there's an existing stone trench that runs along that building now. Basically captures runoff that comes off this driveway and down there. So we'll maintain that, and then on the outside of that would be riprap or 6-inch stone in that area where the outdoor shower would be, and all that runoff generally goes in this direction towards the vegetated area, which is the existing forest in there. This is a 1.8 acre lot. Most of it's wooded as it is now, so not really changing too much in ground cover as part of this project, other than the 8 trees that we're proposing to cut. Be happy to answer any questions.
Brendan?
Thank you. I just happen to have this picture up here now, so is that the area where you want to put the shed, is basically where those
Right.
canoes are? So, will you be needing to cut down any trees or anything to be able to?
I don't
fit
think
in
so.
there?
There's one poplar tree that's to the left. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
you captured in the photo.
Sir, I'm sorry to stop. What's your name and address?
William Talcott, 17 Marsh Road.
Thank you.
Right to the left of where you are is a poplar tree. Poplar trees, they're tough, because they're always dropping stuff. But I think I can fit it in there to the other side of where the dock is, right, where it shows right there. I do not think so.
What kind of foundation is it gonna have?
I'm thinking just block.
Block, okay, just, okay. And you have a letter from an arborist saying that these are dangerous trees?
Yes.
Yep. there.
Yeah, it specifically states a liability to the property and safety of the residents.
Well, there's, I don't know if you wanna split hairs on it, there's trees that are compromised because they have heart rot or something like that, and they're in imminent danger to life or property, and then there's just healthy trees that during a hurricane could fall down on your house. So, which one is it?
I would say it's a combination of two.
Okay.
As you can see, I mean, I'm a tree guy, and I told Travis this. I've lived here for 35 years, I've let these trees grow, and now it's at the point where I feel they're a safety hazard. I can deal with the shade, I can deal with it being like a jungle when it's raining. I can deal with the gypsy moth, the moths, not the moths, the caterpillars, carpenter ants, the moss on the roof, and the acorns. But I think we've reached a point now where I had a branch come through on one of the ones we proposed to take down, went through my wife's car window. My nephew got hit off the head with a small one in the hot tub. And now every time we have a storm like tonight, we're supposed to get heavy winds, you know, I believe in this global warming, and I believe these storms are more intense. I'm worried, I never used to worry, I used to think it was cool to have a storm, it'd be exciting. But now I worry every time it happens. And it's, you know what, I have a place up in Maine with some big trees, but I'm not there, I'm only there a couple weeks a year, here and there. But this is a primary residence, and if something happened, you know, if one of these every one of these trees is probably 5 yards from the house or leaning towards the house, as you can see on the thing. If one of these trees comes hits the house, it could be lethal to anybody upstairs. And some of the roots probably have been compromised because the garage and the existing home in the way it is. But I you know, do I know for sure? No. But do I know they are potential danger to anybody? Yes.
I don't think you need to go any further. All right.
Hey Brandon, he won that one.
You did a good job.
That's why I brought him.
The next thing is talk about down by the water, and here's a picture, and you can see that there is erosion going on, right, you know, like right here, but there's already looks like there's some riprap, or maybe that's just natural stone that's been exposed, I don't know. So the question is, how much riprap, we're on the slope, can you, like relative to that picture, can you give me an idea? Is it gonna be below the water line, is it gonna be above the water line?
So it would be above the water line, so basically where those boxes are, those landscape beds are right here.
Mhm.
So on the downhill side, kinda tying into the existing rock.
Yeah.
So that area would have to be taken out of topsoil and stuff to be able to put that down. But basically from that tree line, that shrub in the background, coming towards us, if you're looking in the photo, and then just, you know, I don't know if you have any other pictures, but it would be
What else do I got here?
closer towards
Here's the one looking the other way.
Yeah, so probably about where that boat would be, you can see that's all eroded there.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
This is one of the few properties I've seen that doesn't have a retaining wall.
Brandon, if you go to the left, with your little,
Down
thing,
over here?
right there,
Yeah.
that's where my lawn was 30 years ago. I've lost it. See those rocks? That used to be my lawn.
Yeah.
We used to water ski right up onto the lawn. And that, I've continually lost it as we go.
So what size stone are you thinking about putting in, and how much?
Probably 4 to 6 inch riprap.
That's gonna be big enough to do what you need to do?
Yeah, I think it will, to at least stabilize that slope, and then on top of that slope, you would have those high bush blueberries, which would provide another kind of level of protection. And because we're flattening this out, all that water is not just running down that hill anymore.
30 Horn did something similar to that well before I moved there. That's still there. That hasn't moved. That size riprap. It's held up well within. That's on a corner with all the boat traffic too.
It'll get less runoff too if we're able to divert into the existing vegetation. cause I get heavy rains and what it does is it sheets down the bulldozer's front. That's why there's no existing lawn there, because everything's been taken down.
Is that, we have a patio there, right? Proposed?
Yeah, proposed patio here.
What's the patio gonna be made out of?
Stone, not, field stone, but, manufactured.
Yeah. So is it gonna be impervious, is it gonna be pervious?
Impervious.
It's gonna be so it's gonna be shedding water.
With a slight slope.
Yeah, so, talking to the hardscaper, there's gonna be a drain basically at this, because there'll be a little lip on that retaining
Have
wall.
a strip drain
Yeah.
that's gonna
which
help it
would-
infiltrate.
Yep, that, and then whatever, overflows would just be spit out to the sides of that. So it'd probably be just a 4-inch pipe that comes in.
Any new impervious surface is gonna be infiltrated. So that, and you think that's gonna be enough for what we're doing here?
I think so. I mean, that patio is about 680 square feet. We're not talking about a huge area.
Okay. And then you got grass and you're gonna be putting some more shrubs in there.
Yep, and then this will provide an additional level of infiltration with that stone and that landscape area that's not really there now.
Right, and you already have that, go back, see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. So over on this side, you already have this stone here. It's almost like a little sluice way.
Right, that gets
So-
overrun during.
So that the water is currently what, coming down from the driveway into here?
Yep,
And then through here like that, and it comes down into the lawn?
right, but in
It
there,
spreads
then
out.
when you get ice buildup, whatever, it's not big enough to capture it now, hopefully, as you can see, there's no, vegetation to block it out.
So what you need to do is kinda
Beef that up.
up,
Right.
but it's still gonna shed water down.
Yep.
And that spits out just almost over to the tree line.
Let's see if I have.
Not to confuse you on it more, but sometimes I even catch rain from Marsh Road that comes down the driveways.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, like every couple of years, I'll come in and put some gravel, get a swale. Swale's a hump.
Mhm.
Swale's a hump before the driveway to divert it before it even gets to that point. And over the years, the plowing disintegrates that, we're gonna beef that up too.
Okay. Anybody else wants to pick it apart, feel free.
Joyce?
I have a question on your planting plan. Your planting plan has all native species here, which are fine. How many did you say you were putting in altogether?
A total of 22.
Gee, 4 times 8 is 32, plus 5 is 37.
Oh, does it have the arborvitae's on the other side of the shed?
Arborvitae's are not
Yeah, I did-
native.
I didn't include those.
Arborvitae's are not native,
No?
no.
Yeah, so we have 22 total in the chart.
It says 8, plant 8 on center, plant 5, 8, 8, 8.
Those are,
How many removed?
those are feet, plant 8 feet on center.
And all
Okay.
bush, all
Yeah,
bush.
the total
Alrighty.
does add up to 22.
Are you
So
happy
my
with
only
it?
comment here is that the arborvitae's are not native.
Yeah, we didn't include
Yes,
those.
it's small
Those were
business.
something, a privacy screen that the owner
They're
requested.
very common for privacy screens, but here's the thing about arborvitae is that they're deer candy.
Yeah, pretty slim pickings for deer. Seen two
Uh-huh.
in the last, year.
They'll eat them and you won't know where they went to.
Bill, you got anything on this?
My only comment is great plan, and I don't know if I can say this, but I wouldn't even be opposed to a little retaining wall along the water in place of the riprap if you wanted to, just to really hold that lawn back. But that's, I don't know if you wanna get in that.
Yeah, the only problem with that is it is actually in the floodplain. So if we did a retaining wall, it would take away some flood storage.
Right.
Okay.
The floodplain did enter my mind, but I mean, it's so minor
Mhm.
that I don't think you should bust his chops on that.
No.
With the riprap, but if you did a wall, yeah, you'd have to do more.
So I'll
formal
withdraw
stuff.
my statement.
And not only that, but then that's, most of the lake has wall, but that was done decades ago. So it's all exempt. Would that happen today, they'd have a lot harder time doing it today, just under DEP rules.
But it'd be like a foot, it'd be like a one block.
But you also lose the benefit of the bank and the public interest associated with the bank for wildlife, when you turn it into a wall.
critters.
The critters, right. Mike, you got anything on this? Zach?
I just had one, how far is the proposed actual shed from the water? Because I noticed it seemed to be within the 25 feet that we
Yeah,
like to
it's-
keep it off.
It's only about 7.5 feet off the existing shoreline, within the existing lawn area.
How about the patio, that corner of the patio, how close is that?
I think that's like 20.
I measured it, it looked like 25 from the edge of the rocks, I think.
That is about 20 feet, 21 feet to that nearest corner.
Okay, so, I think Zach brings up some valid points, and I leave it to you.
Nicole, do you have anything on this?
I think we're trying to hold to the 25 feet for everybody, so,
It's all lawn right now?
It's all
I mean, it's all lawn and it's pre-existing and the house is already there and he doesn't have a lot of room. I
Can
mean,
I measure to the previous watermark that Bill identified in the photo?
if the house was back 100
Right.
feet and he had a huge front lawn, and where's he gonna put the shed up again? I mean,
To answer your question?
I don't think he's
yeah,
asking
you
for
should,
too much.
cause you're on to the high water level mark.
Yeah, how much?
So yeah, you're at 25. I think he said the 25 feet. Because if he had a wall 30 years ago, his lawn would be a lot bigger.
I mean, look at the benefits to the lot when this is done.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're losing some trees, but I know what it's like to lay in
Well,
bed and hear the trees.
From the tree standpoint, and I often say this, I'm in the insurance business. If the insurance company came out and inspected and saw those trees that close to the property, more than likely they would be sending a recommendation to take them down,
Right.
clean them up. I'm a big fan of getting trees off property that are that close. So, I think it's a great plan.
Yeah, realistically, with the new, riprap going in, I think that's a big water quality mitigation thing.
My recommendation then is, cause this is technically gonna be a variance, when I write it up, I have to give some kind of rationale for that variance under your policy, and it sounds like the rationale is that the work is gonna be considered de minimis, and it's already in a pre-existing lawn, am I right?
Correct. Against what policy?
Well, it's the way, way the commission has been viewing.
With
I don't know, why do we have to do a
the
waiver of this
25
policy?
foot
I don't think we do.
issue through the chair is, this is a patio, so it's not a deck, it's not a sun porch. It's just basically leveling out the ground, in my opinion, so you can put a couple chairs on or something. I don't really think it's changing. It's just.
Right, and I can see the bare ground there, that's all that silt and stuff's getting washed right into the lake, I mean,
So I think,
the way
yeah.
it is now.
I don't think it's too much to ask for. You got an existing home, a small front yard, and he wants a small patio, he's doing a lot of plantings, he's fixing the shoreline.
Fix the shoreline.
Just for clarification,
Did you want-
my concern was less of the patio here and more of the shed that's even closer to the.
Well, I
But
think
what
the
are you gonna-
bank, right away at the end of that shed goes up like this, so the one end of the shed would be 8 feet off the ground, right?
It's the only flat spot.
Doesn't your bank go up like
Look
this?
at the grading.
If you
That's what I'm saying, where else?
If
Oh,
you took that-
it goes up, there's a
If you took
slope.
that shed 30 feet away from the edge of the water, would you be able to get it one side of it, or could you park,
No,
you'd be
there
under
would,
it?
there would not be any room, and the
That's what I
grade,
said,
the
well,
grade goes
right,
uphill quite a bit.
flat.
Right.
Shed's not permanent anyway, right?
That's a decent picture of what the slope looks like.
He did make a comment about, when we asked about the foundation, how about just a bed of crushed stone with the shed sitting on it? Is that,
Yeah, I mean, I think that would work, I would think.
it's a small shed, right?
You'd want pavers under the corner or something to get air under it though, right?
Sure, I mean, yeah, if you had a paver at the four corners, but if you just dug it out and did crushed stone, that mitigates all the water, make sure that it reabsorbs in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing much work down that
Yeah,
close,
that'd be fine.
and it makes it not permanent.
Yeah. Now, with the size of the shed, does this have to go through building?
I
think
would
so.
suspect, I don't
8 by
suspect so.
14,
It's
I don't think,
It's 120 square feet, I think,
under 120.
is exempt. What is that, 8
That's
times
close.
14?
It's 112.
That would be
Is it?
more.
No,
That'd be 12 by 10.
Well, 10 times 14 is 140, so minus 28.
Yeah, so it's, so it's exempt from that.
12, I think it would
Oh,
be
you know what?
exempt.
That doesn't meet the shed set, like, so you have to be 10 feet. Right? Sheds have to be 10 feet.
From an abutting property,
Yeah.
but
No, from a property line, no?
I don't think the lake, well,
The side yard setback.
The
is
the
for
side
side
yard
yard
setback.
setback would
That's
be
for
10
property
feet,
line.
right?
So let's say this, when you build, you get your building permit, they push it back to 10, it's,
Right, they may push it back to 10.
you may have to put it at 10.
Is there any other place on the property you could put it, because you said you've got
Further away,
1.8 acres?
Yeah.
But it's mostly
Oh,
tree.
yeah, you
It's
could
more
put
of
it,
a
all
lot.
types of
Side,
places,
is it side?
but,
Side
that's the
lot.
most
Well, side,
convenient.
front,
I
rear,
mean,
they
if-
do consider
if
the
we have to
lake
get it
rear.
back,
Do they?
are we talking about 10 feet, 7 to 10 feet here?
No, zoning in town? When you
No, I
get-
mean, like, we said it was.
Yeah, we're talking about 3 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll make it 10 feet.
Yeah, okay.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there anybody from the public? Okay, go ahead and second it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 17 Marsh Road.
With the
With-
one condition of the shed
conditions.
being on crushed
With the
stone and it's
condition of the-
removable.
Yep, the shed being crushed stone with cinder blocks in the corner and 10 feet versus 7.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, I second it, yeah. You wanna sign this one?
I'm signing
Oh,
this one, Tom,
okay,
this
yep.
one is stamped in.
She's voted on with any condition, which is today, which is 10/16. Shed placed on stone. Okay, all right. Is Mr. Bacon here?
Yeah.
Come on up, sir.
I only made 6 of these.
Oh, boy, now you're in trouble.
I thought there were 6.
Try to confuse you. We can share a couple at a time.
Hey there.
Actually, you can give this to Brendan, that's fine.
Thank you. And I have just a few of these from Margaret Bacon, which is the wetlands work that she did for us.
So I spoke with Mr. Bacon on the phone, and it's not in any jurisdiction of a great pond or a perennial stream, right? There's no perennial stream or great pond that's anywhere near this project. It's just a regular wetland.
Yeah, so Margaret came and delineated the wetland. And, you know, I've been working hard to get this thing
Yeah.
100 feet from the wetland boundary.
And so there's no work within 100 feet of that wetland boundary, correct? If there's no work within 100 feet of the wetland boundary, then we're out.
Okay.
Brandon, can you just maybe take a quick peek at it and verify that? But I think
Well,
we're,
if you go by, am I correct that this is the property right here?
Yep.
Okay, so, if we go to the GIS overlays. Give it a second, it's a little slow tonight. There we go. Shows wetlands over there. Now, you have to take that with a grain of salt, these are just estimates, but it's a good start. And then, the other part of it is the soils is the very good one. And it shows the property more or less being split diagonally between this 310B and the 70A. And I have my little cheat sheet here. Because they used to have a number letter code that I could understand. Now it's just it's different.
Did you fold that yourself?
Yeah. Not bad, huh? 310B is Woodbridge, which is a moderately well-drained soil. They tend to have a seasonal high water table in the range of about 18 inches. And then 70A is Ridgebury Fine Sandy Loam. It's a poorly drained soil that often found in drainage ways, tend to be stony. Splits it right in half. Now, again, that's also something you have to take with a grain of salt. I put more stock into the soils maps because the soils maps was done by the Soil Conservation Service back in the 70s and 80s, and that was a field exercise. Whereas the wetland mapping is all done, or was done by people sitting in offices looking at aerial photographs and making interpretations. All right, that all said, do we have some kind of statement from Margaret Bacon?
Yeah, she came and delineated the wetland and, did some soil samples to figure all that out, as well as looking at the plants. I don't, did you get a copy of that?
I'm just kidding. No, it's not.
Here.
Yeah, we got the DEP form here, Brandon, and it's,
This is the work Margaret did.
Okay, so let me check Margaret's data
Yeah.
form. Now, I'll say this about Margaret, I hold her in high regard. And I think that's one of the reasons why she was asked to replace Jim Malley in the job of the health agent. She does, she's very good and honest in her work. Okay, wetland. This is the wetland. How about the upland one?
Would you expect a separate inventory or?
There's, as far as the data plots, there's one done on the wetland side of the line and one done on the upland side of the line.
Okay.
And this one says WF6 wet.
I think that's all I've
And
got.
it looks like it's the one that was,
I don't think I have another one. Maybe.
the soil is 2.5 y 6.6, which is not even close to being a hydric soil though. Saturation greater than 10 inches, oxidized rhizospheres. She calls that a hydric soil? Alright, well, if you don't have the other one, that's alright. Here's the thing is that I trust Margaret's judgment if it's close, like, 105 feet away, I trust her judgment.
I have WF8 up. Would that be the upland?
That's the one I need to submit. Thank you. And we don't even have a dominant plants. Okay, that's what I need. Thank you. I'm all set,
Does he need that back?
if he wants it.
so,
Can you send these?
I
Oh.
have it back. I wasn't either.
are we all in the agreement that he's outside of jurisdiction and he's good to go?
Wait a minute, now, are these the same thing?
As long as the work stays at least 100 feet away. Good.
So, Mr. Bacon, as long as you're outside of 100 feet, you're good to go, you're all set,
Okay.
all right?
Enjoy your barn.
Enjoy your barn, yeah.
Do you want all these back?
So, are you gonna tell the building inspector?
If he has any questions, he can call our office, or he
Okay.
can call me directly, but,
Okay, great.
or he
Thank
could
you.
review the tape,
Wanda, you can send an email down to
yeah.
John, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he's all set?
Yeah, he's good to go.
Get building, while the weather's still kind of
Well,
good.
it's gonna be next spring, I think now. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
have a
you.
great night.
Have a great night.
Oh, here's another one if you need it.
she had definitely a non-hydric soil color in the wetland side, so if that's the case, she might have been conservative.
Mhm. Next up is gonna be 188 and 199 Mendon Road.
Make a motion to waive the reading of 188 and 199 Mendon Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Good evening, my name is Raouf Makaris with Alpha Omega Engineering. I'm here for the NRAD for 188 and 199 Mandel Road. I think last meeting, we had to continue the public hearing because Brandon needed to walk the site.
Mhm.
We walked the site a couple of weeks ago with him, and he found some additional wetlands. We flagged it, located it, and I did email him to Brandon. He approved the plan, and the one you have in your hand is the final one. That's right, yeah.
Who did the second on that one?
I did.
Brandon, did you have anything on this,
Now, at this point, we blend the field, we looked at those other areas, and they agreed that they had missed some things, and we came to an agreement on a number of changes. I am quite happy with the final result. My recommendation at this point, though, is just to state, in the ORAD that you approved the line. However, there are other wetland resource areas that were not delineated on site. And the only place that really happens is on the northwest side of Pigeon Hill Pond and below the dam. So above the dam is Pigeon Hill Pond. As soon as you get past the dam, it's a tributary to it is Dark Brook.
Yes.
It's where Dark Brook begins. And Dark Brook is a perennial stream, so it has a 200-foot riverfront area, but they didn't delineate that. They don't have to. But you just state on the ORAD that you approve what has been delineated, but that there are other wetland resource areas present on site that have not been delineated. And that way, if and when an application comes in, that'll be a red flag to be on the lookout for other stuff.
anybody from the board? Anybody from the audience? I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to issue an ORAD for 188 and 199 that's approving the wetland line, but to note on the file that there are other wetlands, so if you're gonna proceed with anything else,
Northwest corner below the.
northwest below the
Corner.
dam. Corner,
Northwest corner and below the dam.
corner and below the dam.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Who seconded it?
We gotta sign the top of this one. Who's hiding? Crouching tiger, hidden signature.
Sign this plan.
Oh, yep, first copy, you gotta sign this too.
That's from the tree company.
The next contestant is 24 Holt Road, Kings Campground. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2019 at 7:10 PM. Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for a determination of applicability submitted to the Conservation Commission by Anna Binaco, is that correct? Kings Campground, Manchog, Mass. The project consists of the removal of 2 dead trees on map 53, parcel 7, 24 Holt Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello. We need to cut down 2 trees, but they're dead.
Okay.
Now that the campers are moved out, it's easier for us to get something in here to cut it down.
Okay.
And you're Anna?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this, is this from a certified arborist? I'll just read it out so we don't have to pass it around. Just says, site number 42, 1 dead oak tree. Site 106, 1 dead oak tree. Looked at both trees, found no leaves, bark falling off. Trees are dangerous and should be removed. That's from a certified arborist number 838.
Done.
Anybody from the board have anything on this? Anybody from the audience?
What are you gonna replace them with?
We're gonna try to replace them with the same kind of trees. We're already replacing them with the pine trees that we cut down. So, we want trees over there, believe me, we don't want to get rid of them. I don't want that turned into a park.
So, what kind of
Maple.
trees?
Maple.
Maple.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And those hold up from the gypsy moss.
Oak, oh, these say
Sugar
one,
maple.
these say
Oak,
both
oak,
oaks.
Oak tree, I'm
Oak
sorry,
tree.
oaks, yep.
You're better
Sure you
off.
wanna put oaks
I was
back,
just
yeah.
gonna say, you're better off not with oaks because of the gypsy moths. Well, I suppose we just had this discussion. Everything eats everything now, so it doesn't
Yeah,
really
it's
matter.
a lot of,
Hickories are doing all right, I think, unless you guys know otherwise.
right now, I mean, a lot of our trees, they're attacked, so
Yeah, right.
no matter what you put up there, they're gonna.
So just replace the 2 trees with trees.
Make a motion.
2.5-inch caliper.
2.5-inch caliber.
Okay.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 24 Holt Road with the understanding that 2 native trees of 2.5-inch caliber will be replaced in the same area.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Now, when can we start cutting them down, is it?
Tomorrow.
Okay. sounds
Yep.
great. Thank you very much.
Don't cut
Or
in the
tonight.
dark, right?
Yeah, just don't cut them tonight.
It's gonna be
Tonight
windy,
they'll
maybe
slow
you won't
down.
have to.
Yeah, right, yeah. Back cut them and then give the opposite side of the wind.
Who did the second on that last motion?
Joyce.
Thank you.
Have a good night. You made up some speed here, Andy.
Yeah, I'm trying to make up some time. We just threw it into Mario Andretti.
Dry hydrant rather.
Alright. Do you should we be signing these arborist letters as like a plan or no? Okay, I didn't think so.
No, just make sure it goes
That's
back
just
to the
supporting
file.
documentation.
Alright.
Yes,
I mean, it's been a very, it's been pretty solid policy that the
Yeah.
commission's been enforcing, and nobody's had a problem with it, and I think it's a good thing.
Just stick this back here. Mr. Mike?
This is a new one.
Alright, next up is 187 West, is it 720? Yeah, it's 720. 187 West Sutton Road, Adams Pond, Mass Wildlife. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 7:20 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Caleb Slater, Mass Wildlife, Westboro, Mass. The project consists of the installation of a dry hydrant, including dredging, restoration, and dewatering on map 22, parcel 40, 187 West Sutton Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw.
DEP number.
Yeah, do we have a DEP or not yet?
I haven't seen one yet, unfortunately.
Can you check that, Brandon, and see if
You
it
bet.
popped up today?
If I can connect, I will.
If you can connect.
Which one?
Do we have the green cards back on this?
Oh, this one that's good.
Okay.
Yep.
The fees have been paid on this? Oh, they're exempt, right?
Yeah, some of them are exempt. Without looking at the file here, let me see.
What are we here, Dan? Are we executive privilege, or we not?
I mean, I think we just paid the fees and trying to be done with it, so we sent in checks.
Well, we appreciate the checks. Is the A&M completed on this, the avoidance and minimization?
They wrote a very
Okay,
thorough,
yep, that's good.
long report that is,
And I'll just
it
check fees as paid.
equals it.
This is the shortest one we've done in a long time.
That is still pretty long.
And there's no other, permits pending with any other boards, right?
Nope.
Okay. All right, we're just, Brandon's just gonna check and see if you're DP, but you can go ahead.
Okay, so, we are here to talk about the last piece of the projects. We're here several times over last year. This is to install a dry hydrant at Adams Pond in the Merrill Ponds Wildlife Management Area. This is mitigation for the town for the removal of Welsh Pond, which happened this past, summer into the fall, and that's, nearly complete now. Essentially, what it is right along West Sutton Road, there's a place in between, there's one large tree and then a white pine a little bit further down where we'll have a contractor go in, scoop out some sediment from the bottom of the pond, line it with stone, and add a pipe and a standpipe for a dry hydrant for firefighting water. There's probably one 4-ish to 6-inch smaller tree that may have to get taken out to accommodate the work. We try to keep it if we can, but it's pretty tight through there, so I guess we'll replace it with a 2.5-inch caliber or so in exchange. The tricky part of this project is dealing with the sediment that comes out of the bottom of the pond. It's sort of a difficult material to handle. So what we plan to do is bring it a short distance north along West Sutton Road and then into an upland area between the dam and the dike that supports Adams Pond. We would allow it to basically desiccate there, dry it so that it's dry enough to bring someplace else and get rid of, essentially. So that's sort of why we have this whole area aligned with erosion control barriers and all that sort of thing. Sediment's just too mucky to handle. You put it directly on a truck and then drive it on a road, it's gonna slosh everywhere, it's gonna be a mess. And the way sediment has to get managed now, this will have to go to a landfill since we don't really have a place to apply it locally. We talked about trying to find a spot to spread in this area with your board a year or so ago, but it sounded like that was something that we didn't wanna do, so we'll just get rid of it. It'll probably go to Southbridge landfill as daily cover, is my guess. That's about it. The reason why this is so late is because there's an endangered state listed pondweed in Adams Pond. We wanna make sure we weren't gonna be putting this dry hydrant where the pondweed is. So when that had fully leafed out in the summertime, right after July 1st, we had the state biologist go out and identify it. And I guess it's in a lot of different places in this pond and the next pond upstream, but it's not in the area that we're gonna be working in. So we have a letter from Natural Heritage back saying that the project is sort of okay to move ahead as we have it. So the plan is, if you're okay with this, we're gonna wrap it up into the contract for the Putnam Pond Dam removal, which you've also permitted, and that will go out to bid later this fall and hopefully be under construction very early spring. So that's the project in a nutshell.
Brandon, you have anything on this?
The first question, but really the last question on this was gonna be, when stood with the MISA process, and you've got a letter from Natural Heritage saying that you're gonna be able to move forward with this. Do you need any kind of permit from them?
We have what we need from them now. Yeah, we don't need a conservation or management permit or anything. The pondweed is not in this part of the pond, it's further afield. We're just gonna make construction fund whenever we go to rehabilitate this dam, but.
How long does the sediment sit there for dewatering before ultimate transport to wherever you bring it?
It'll be on the order of weeks to a month or two. It's not gonna be, 6 months or a year.
And when do you wanna start this?
It would be in the spring, we would anticipate. Okay. So the sediment contractually will likely have to be out of there by July 1st, 2020.
Where exactly was the sediment going again? I'm sorry.
Right in between, so this is.
Oh, where the
what's that
land
road?
jets out?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, there's like it looks like a driveway that goes into where the dam is, and right in the middle there's an upland area, so we'll put Jersey barriers around it, straw wattles around the whole thing.
Okay.
Fill up with sediment.
Dan, can you do me a favor and point it out on the aerial?
Oh, yeah, right up in here.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, anybody from the board have anything on this?
No, but thank you for taking care of our fire situation.
That is.
Yeah, that, we do appreciate that, that was, as sad as it was to see our ponds disappear, but the safety comes first, and that was a big thing, so.
Well, I'd like to make a comment that I think it looks pretty nice now, though, that it's growing in and,
You say tomato, I say tomato, but.
yeah, but, well, I'm vindicated because I said all along that I remember trees growing there and there's all those stumps there, so that's how old I am.
Yep, the stone walls going across the bottom are pretty
Yep.
neat too.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah. That's why, you see that every once in a while.
So since this is a state project, and there's no DEP number, we're not.
They still have to wait for a
They
DEP
still-
number. Yeah, DEP has the absolute right to comment.
but you don't have to come back in, I don't think. We can just,
You can't close it
we
without.
can't close it
No, I
without, but I don't
Yeah,
think they have to.
normally, Natural Heritage is required to have 30 days to review it, but they've already, being a state agency, they kinda get the, jump start on that.
Right, anybody from the audience have anything? Yes, sir.
Question,
Sure.
Tom Castavilla, 64 Town Farm Road. Does this, do these ponds have to be drained or anything to perform this?
No more than has already occurred. This will be just done in the wet, so that's why that sediment will be so wet coming out. We have to put it someplace. But this pond is gonna stay as it is.
Oh, like, what's your methodology for taking the sediment out?
It'll be an excavator on the side of the road with turbidity curtain around the area in the pond. It's just gonna be scoop place in a dump truck and then drive very slowly down and stockpile in the dewatering area.
Alright, so when the machine goes down, and does the scoop, there's a lot of water in it, and then it gets dumped into the truck, and then there's gonna be water coming out of the dump truck.
It'll have to be a waterproof truck, we'll require that, and they have liners that they can put in, and they'll probably have to fill it only halfway or something like that.
Okay.
Yep, it's not gonna be the easiest thing in the whole world, but it's doable. They also make the watering roll-offs that have like a.
I've seen those, but I've never seen one in a dump truck.
I don't know, it depends on the contractor we get, but.
I worked with a guy recently that had a bucket that was so old that the bottom of it actually had a hole in it.
Strainer.
It was like a strainer, yeah, so you could borrow his if you want.
Perfect.
My father's machine's like that. Alright, so we'll
Get a motion to continue to
11/16.
Okay, November 6th
November sixth,
at 7:10.
7:10 PM.
One second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, so we'll plan
Thank
on
you.
not being here next time unless somebody asks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for you to come back. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Do we need to sign this?
No, it's not, it's continued. We'll probably sign it next meeting, hopefully.
Good,
With any
doing
luck.
good. I was in Milton last night, it wasn't on till 10:45. All they did was talk.
Yeah.
You're doing good.
The Talking Commission.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of 310 Putnam Hill Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Come on up, Mr. Hill. 310 Putnam Hill Road. A&M. Alright, we got everything, let's see, issues.
Can't read your writing, huh?
No, I can, but we already did some of these, but I can tell you what the original issues were. Expanding the wetlands per a neighbor. 303 Putnam Hill Drive, concerned about water quality. The house was 28 feet, septic was 50.6 feet. We did the tree mitigation and A&M, which we have the A&M. So, tree mitigation, do you have that all squared away?
Proposal to plant 13 oak trees
13 oaks?
around the
around the perimeter, they're shown on the plan.
And how many were coming down?
Oh, there's about 8 large trees that would come down.
Okay.
So, we went out and located the new wetland line, which is now shown on the plan. So it went downhill a bit, and that allowed the house to be more than 50 feet from the edge of wet, so we're no longer asking for a waiver for the house to be within 50 feet. Fortunately, the septic is still within 100 feet. So we still are asking for a waiver to allow the septic to be 55.2 feet away. We've added some Coltech chambers. The house is to have gutters, and the gutters have to be piped into these leaching facilities. And we changed the grading at the bottom to keep the bottom of the slope, the last 5 feet flat. So we're not gonna do any grading in that last 5 feet. Mentioned that the straw wattles are to be biodegradable, and we've called for placement of wetland signs.
Brandon, you have anything else on this?
I noticed 1-inch caliper tree when the commission prefers 2.5-inch caliper.
Yes, the larger the tree, the harder it is to transplant. The big ones tend to die. So this tree would be, 10 to 15 feet tall, but
Is that written in our bylaw?
It is not, but there's never been a variance on that that I can remember.
The first time for everything.
it's heavily wooded lot too.
Good call.
Didn't you say you're taking down, how many trees did you say? 8 large ones. And we're putting 12 back?
13.
13? So I mean,
That's a 2-to-1, like almost a 2-to-1.
well, I thought it was tree for tree.
It is, but.
Right, so he's
So-
taking 8 trees down and planting 13, right?
Yeah, he's
So-
doing more, so.
He's doing more, so they're a little smaller,
We
but
could give him some relief on the calibers for, as
that's what I was
far as
getting
I'm
at.
concerned.
Me too.
Yeah.
And one other thing I forgot to mention is there are some invasives out here. My client agrees to remove all the invasives in the work zone.
Excellent.
I don't think that's gonna be unavoidable. It looks like you're clearing it all out and doing a lot of grading to within 5 feet of the LOD anyway. So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Where's the signs gonna be put?
Do you like them every 50 feet?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's, yeah,
usually,
that's what
usually
we
the locations are plotted on the plan, but, so we can just put that in as every 50 feet and at every angle point.
That's fine.
Oh, that must be the trees. Sediment, it'll work. Anybody, from the board have anything?
Is there a number?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, 0901.
Is there anybody from the audience who has a comment on this?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 310 Putnam Hill Road, with the addition of adding the conservation signage at every 50 foot or any angle.
And at every angle.
And at every angle.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the 1-inch tree stand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
What
Have a
was
great
the,
night.
what was the condition on that bill, I'm sorry?
Sign, just to add the signs at every 50 feet and every angle.
Okay.
And we agreed to the 1-inch trees.
We just have a little
The number.
discussion, cause we just planted 2.5-inch caliber trees and it was a massive act to, sometimes you make more destruction trying to. It's a bigger
I
tree.
cheated on that with my project, my trees weren't quite 2.5
And I would
inch.
tell you that most people that I see aren't planting 2.5.
Right.
Even when I do, like,
They're hard to get.
they're
They're
very
ex-
expensive, they're hard to get.
Right.
1 inch is, they do catch up in a couple of years. You know, a 1 inch versus a 2.5, you look at them in 3 to 4 years later and they probably almost look the same.
And I think they're more readily available, like you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get some of these trees, native species.
I just wanna say, for the record, moving forward, that on wide open areas, the bigger trees, it would make sense, but when you're in the woods and you have to be more mindful of just cost, and I think it makes
Signature on
sense.
that, and, we need to sign that. Is that first copy or third copy?
I've got one here that's.
Oh, you got a stamp?
Just pick,
Yeah, you could just sign that one.
First copy.
if you wanna have some extra ones for the file, those, I guess.
Yeah, I look for, when it's the first copy you should sign, but
This
that's
is the
all right.
first copy.
Excellent.
Really? Cause I got one here, oh, this might be the original.
Mike,
Or
you
is that-
seconded that one, right?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, it says first copy, yeah.
Yeah, this one does too.
It's okay, we use this one.
Yeah, I just signed that.
First and first, next second.
Yeah, I think these are all originals.
I said that. Yep. There's one more.
Wanda, could, after you're ready, could we just have those plans that we can sign for, 23 Marsh? We approved this last meeting, but the plans need to be revised, so we're just signing this.
Right, and she did, was it Karen?
Yeah.
She submitted them into that.
Yeah.
I have a copy here, if you don't have one, of 23 Marsh. You have 23 Marsh? You do.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah, right where my scribble is. Wow, okay.
That's just an extra one.
We got, like 6 minutes to burn, so we'll go to board business. We have minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of September.
Table,
Wait, on a minute, hold on.
table.
You have to prove them.
All of
Both,
them?
both of them, or just September 18th?
4th and 18th.
That's, we can table them both, that's fine.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to table the meeting minutes for September 4th and
Yeah,
September 18th.
I'm.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep, no problem.
Okay,
Table.
so, who made the motion?
Zach.
Who seconded?
I did. Throwing everyone off tonight.
That's why I can't figure out what's going on.
All right, and next up under board business is the planning review for 188 Hartness Road, accessory apartment.
What's the address on that?
188 Hartness Road. I'm gonna do it faster, Brandon.
I'm trying to keep up, I'm slow.
That's, Grant, is that Grant Woodward? Is that the one?
No, he's on,
Oh, he's Leland Hill.
yeah, Leland Hill. Why is this going to the capital of France?
Oh, I don't know. 'Cause that's.
Oh, that's the
planning
tutorial,
board.
because nobody's ever used it.
Oh, she might not have.
Which road was it, Hartness?
188 Hartness.
Brandon beat you.
He did?
Should put some stuff, put money on these.
You're kidding me. How'd you
We
do
went to
that?
France first.
Oh, yeah, I know. You just stop and see the mayor of France. What is that site right there?
Oh.
Is that a development? It's a cul-de-sac. Yeah, that must be I don't know what road that is.
Leland Hill goes probably back to
Oh,
that.
that's Partridge.
Oh.
Yeah, gotcha. Must
Seems
be
like
what
this
it
one's
is.
on top of a hill.
A lot of Hartnesses, yeah.
Yeah, he's got that construction site on his too. I would say if the construction site didn't have to file that, they're gonna be all set there.
There's not, as far as GIS, there's nothing saying there's wetlands here.
Does anybody have any issues with that? Okay.
Famous last words, but that's what
Okay.
I'm getting. And it's also shown to be at the top of a hill, which.
You just have to write, they don't have to file.
Okay. Oops. All set on this one, Wanda. Making good time here. The CFC for 290 Putnam Hill Road, Lot 9.
290.
That's the big subdivision, Gianni?
Well, I looked at that, that's for the last one,
Yeah, lot 9.
right? So, I haven't done that inspection yet.
Okay.
It can wait till the next one.
That can wait.
Okay, no, wait, okay. I'll put it on the next one
So I got time 85 Gilmore Drive, the vernal pool.
Yeah, I finally got a letter from, David Crossman, who
Yep.
did the investigation. He did one visit in April, and his conclusion was inconclusive. It's probably due to the fact that he only did one visit. And he says, well, it's inconclusive. If you want me to come back next year, I can come back next year. I recommend that they do that. Construction's still going on, so wait until, you know, March, April's not, it's what, 4 or 5 months away now? I recommend doing that and having them.
Are you in contact with him via email, or?
I can be, and tell him, like, you know, if
Does
you go
any-
there and you find it inconclusive again, please go at least one more time.
Yeah.
Um,
Does anybody have any problem with that on the board? I'd rather have him go back. That's, yeah.
Yes, and he also said in that letter that they had started construction and there was dirt all over the top of the pond, you know, that had drifted in, so. I know when we were there, we heard lots of frogs, but,
Yeah, I know we did, yeah.
yeah, so I think they need,
I'm a little surprised that he came up with an inclusive, but
well, probably they suffocated them all with all the dirt going on there, but
we'll find out.
anyway, yes, I think they really need to go back another time.
Yeah, I do too, I agree. We only have 2 minutes, so we'll hold off on 39 Gilmore for a second. Woodburyville Heights. Nicole found the association officers and corresponding addresses. Yeah, she had sent those to me.
So, just so you know, all of that stuff has to be recorded in the registry of deeds. If you have a condo association with trustees, that is all recorded.
I didn't know that.
So the info I sent Andy has the address for the company that.
Yeah, I'll send that, yep, let me go in my email and I'll send it right now.
And the
so I
name
don't
of the
forget.
trustees. Every time a new trustee is elected, a certificate is recorded with the registry.
So what would I do, send that?
There's an address.
Yeah, and you know what, we'll take those 5 people and those 5 addresses and send it to each of them. I know we're wasting postage here, but it's kind of off the, it's one of those
Now,
things.
do you want them sent certified? Cause that's usually.
No,
or
don't
do
spend
you
the money,
want
what's
them
the?
Yeah, that's a lot of
Andy,
money.
maybe just
Certified means
send
they have to sign.
certified to the company.
President or something?
You wanna,
On it, the place on Worcester,
okay,
I think it is.
let me just find it here.
It's at the top of the
Wait, a property
letterhead.
management company or something?
Place in Worcester, why would you
It's a-
send it to Worcester?
It's like a lawyer's office or you know, whatever. So send it to the trustees, but also send it to that company.
Here it is right here.
So it's Carrot Phoenix Company, 650 Lincoln Street.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting anywhere.
The Phoenix Company's a property management
Yeah.
company, so they're.
Yeah, so, I mean, send it certified to them,
Yeah.
but
That's a
also
good
send
idea.
copies to the trustees. And maybe you'll get an answer.
That is in your email, Wanda. Other than, I just had a major typo and you couldn't understand a thing I just sent you. There we go. Management
That's okay, I'll figure it out.
company. Okay. All right. Next up is 750 26 Mallard Way.
And I'm gonna make a
Continue.
motion to waive
Oh.
the reading of 26 Mile Away.
Hold on. They're not here.
And I'm gonna make a motion per the applicant's
Wait a minute,
request
where are you, Mallard Way?
to
Hold on.
continue to November 6th at 7 p.m.
I didn't see the writing on that.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now we'll go back to, yeah, we got like 10 minutes. 39 Gilmore Drive. Wanda, could we have those plans?
Who did the second
Oh,
on it?
sorry.
I
did.
made a motion to waive the reading, and I also made a motion to continue per the applicant's request to November 6th, 2019.
Okay, but who did the second?
I did.
Joyce did the second.
It's just 'cause your voices are all blending in here. Sorry. Okay, so now which one do you wanna do?
We'll go back to 39 Gilmore Drive, that plan that you got from Jen. I went out there, I measured it online.
This plan has to go back to planning
Yep, no
board.
problem.
There's 2 there, there's the top one that shows, the area.
Yep.
And Jen said this is all,
Yeah.
asphalt.
Yeah, this is right, and that's
Right.
pretty much right to the edge, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, where the landscaping is, it goes to the landscaping.
That was the existing parking lot.
The existing parking lot,
That's what's
yeah.
there today.
That's the
That
next.
it, or is it that is
The
one?
only thing I saw new was it was seal coated.
It should be this way.
So, the expansion of the parking lot was in 2006.
All right, here it is right here. This
The
one.
addition was in 2016, I believe.
Yeah, and the addition to the building in its current state,
It's not
that's
showing
not
it,
it.
right?
Hold on.
Yeah,
Lifesong Church.
didn't you say it was 2013, the last pictures?
No, 17. It comes up.
17.
Yeah. It does come up if I could pull it.
All that
You
green
can see the,
on the plan is supposed to be all asphalt.
I don't know why this one's not coming up on the
All
timeline.
this is supposedly all asphalt.
This is
Check
asphalt?
the one on my phone. Might have
In
to
the
pull it up
woods?
on a,
Yeah, that's what she said. Have you gone to look at that?
No, but
find it, huh? You might have to pull it up on a desktop to use the timeline feature, but it does come up in the 2017, picture. Can you change the, you're not on Earth, are you?
I can do that.
If you can Earth it, you can
Yep.
scroll through the time, you can see the addition.
See if I can just, cause I don't think I have it installed, but. Here we go. Alright, so, search.
Like an astronaut?
A little bit.
Alright, now, how do I scroll through
The timeline?
yeah,
I don't know.
no,
It usually shows up like in the top left of the screen, but this one it's not either.
see, I don't know what year this is from.
Right.
Maybe I have to have the, like, the professional one installed?
Yeah, you must have to have the one installed up.
See, the water's right in the back there.
Does that one have it?
What's that?
Does that one have it?
No
No.
timeline on that.
So that's the original building right there?
Oh, wait a minute, wrong property. Isn't it?
That's
No.
it, prior to the
It's this
addition.
one, right? It gave me the wrong property.
Yeah,
It
it gave you,
says this
that's that one right there. So,
Oh,
No, it's not, it's the
Hold
other
on.
one.
is it?
Yep, I went there. It's not that one, it's the one you were on.
I can't.
But that's prior to the addition.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not what it looks like today. Those parking lots are connected together.
Yeah, there's a road in the back, right?
these two
No.
are
It's all-
connected together?
No, it's no road in the back.
It looks like this plan right here. See this plan in front of me?
Yeah.
And it shows a guardrail and this is all pavement,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what's there.
Yeah.
So,
And this is 08.
So unfortunately, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has only made 2013 aerial photos available for GIS. If you want anything else, you gotta go to, another app.
But the new part of the building was probably, what, about 40 feet, I'd say? Deep, closer to the wetlands? And that measured it.
Well, so this is where the wetland is.
Yeah.
In 08. Now there's a detention pond. So this becomes the wetland?
no, the detention ponds were built when they did the whole
Right,
thing.
but here's edge of wetland,
Yeah.
which is a lot further away than when you look over
No,
the banking.
No, I was right.
Cause this looks like a wetland now. When I went there and I looked over
It's
the banking,
right
this
there.
looks
It's
like
wet.
wetland.
It
This
is.
is the property we're
Yeah.
talking
Right, but
about.
it's not flagged as a wetland in 08.
Because
It's
they
a
had to
detention
put in,
basin.
yeah, they had to put in the detention basins, yeah.
So is that
Is new?
a wetland now? So the wetland line changed since 08.
Doesn't look like it.
I think there's more than one detention basin. I think there were 4, if I remember right.
I don't see what's different between the two of those.
I really don't either.
There isn't, the parking lot hasn't changed, they seal coated part of it, but the back of the building did go out about.
Well, that whole lawn area there is parking lot now.
Yeah,
That's all
Go
parking lot.
back to the other one, please.
yeah, all that is parking lot.
I took a picture when I was there.
That's not parking lot there though, that's grass.
No, it's
Well,
the
when
whole back
when they
of
were
that.
pumping out the oil spill, I mean, they were right up on the edge of the wetland there, on the parking lot. So the thing is, when,
Well, it's not really a wetland though, that's a detention basin.
well, which is a wetland, kinda, but
Well, that's the question, is it
Is
not
it-
kinda, I mean,
But
is the
anyway,
detention basin a wetland
we
or
didn't,
not?
we didn't have any of the information as to how the drains worked in that parking lot.
Yeah,
Alright, I got a plan here that's very helpful. And
Same deal, right?
120.
Where he took the water samples was right over the edge of the parking lot.
yeah.
Wait, this is 120.
Here's the plan that Joyce Jen said that
Future
it
expansion.
comes down here and it goes into this detention.
According to this old plan,
Position.
the wetland is
The old
about
plan.
300 feet away from the old, from the building.
Right.
Now, is this the most recent?
No, that's an old.
I have one here that's dated 2003.
We're talking about 300 feet here,
Right.
so, I mean, that's a
That,
long way.
that building addition definitely wasn't 200 feet. I think Joyce is concerned that the detention basin that they built is now considered a wetland.
The detention basin is now a wetland?
Yeah, that's what her concern
When
is.
you go out there, when you look at, I mean, I went out there, it looked like, when I looked over the edge, I would've thought it was a wetland.
It's a big detention basin.
Well, they're designed to be what we call wet basins.
Right.
So,
But does
if
that
it was
become
built
a lot?
before 96, it's at the commission's discretion.
I think it's split hairs here.
And if it's built after
See, I mean,
96,
that's behind the building,
Right.
which was grass, and it's all I mean, that's not new. I
That's
don't-
not new.
Was
Yeah.
I mean, I won't guess how old it is, but it's old, it's not new.
Right. I'm gonna say that work as well.
And then
outside
this
of-
must be what they're calling the addition, but it looks like the main building, cause
Yeah,
that's
it's a
what's
cross
there.
dock, right.
So I don't see an addition, I see somewhere they finished all the paving
Right.
that wasn't done originally.
Yeah.
There should be a date on Jen's plan.
Yeah, this one's 03.
Yeah, there should
Well, I don't
be a
wanna
date
spend any
on
more
this
time if
plan
it's
as
300
to
feet
when
away.
they-
That one's 03.
And it's that wetland line, not the detention
Oh,
basin.
08, you're right,
08.
08, yeah.
So the wetland, Randy, you're seeing the wetland line's 300 feet?
according to that plan, it's about 300 feet away.
300
And
feet
so
away.
the question is the detention pond now considered a quote-unquote wetland, right? If it is, then is an issue, if there is.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, our consultant
It's
says it
still,
is.
it's a stormwater facility.
Okay.
The stormwater facilities are very often designed to be wet basins because, they have a wetland like cattails on them because wetlands do a very good job of filtering water.
You want this?
Yeah, but I'm gonna guess it happened,
Their
like, it's
original
been there since
was
08.
2003,
Yeah.
so that's what this plan is.
Okay.
Hers is just the updated one.
Glad to see planning
Is
board
everybody,
had a plan
is
on
everybody
file.
okay with that? Alright. Okay, so that can come off. Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing is when I went out there, there's nothing wrong, even if they didn't file, which I understand is illegal and they would have to file, but at least there's no issues.
Right.
Everything was stabilized.
Yep.
So do
It's
they
all
have to
been there.
file?
Huh?
No,
No.
no.
Everything looks good.
Alright, 750 is off. Pre-application plan for 205 Burbank Road.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? We don't usually do this, so we're gonna stick to 10 minutes on this, okay? Alright.
I thought we could do done in 5.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, is it okay? Pass these out. They said to bring something.
Yeah.
There you go.
205 Burbank Road, this is?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
There you go.
Thank you.
So conceptually, this is 1.75 acres of unusable land, I guess, at this point. That's why it's being sold for $13,000.
Oh, I know this lot, yep.
I'm sure it's had a lot of.
It's undersized.
Yeah, for
Yep.
building
Yep.
anything.
It's an unbuildable lot.
Yeah, it's undersized to be built on, right?
So my proposal would be to put a very small solar system. It's good for the environment, produces a little bit of energy, backfeed to national grid. Keep it at 25 kW AC, which is considered extremely small. 250 kW is where you start hitting all town bylaw issues.
I was just
and
gonna
stuff
say,
like
yeah,
that. So it's 1/10 of the size of what's considered the beginning
Mhm.
of a large-scale commercial project. I'm keeping it well over 100 feet away from the the GIS delineation, that's obviously not, you know, the real delineation, as we all know, it always typically takes some verification to identify that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do an ANRAD.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I've never done anything in Sutton, I live in South Borough.
Gotcha.
And so I just came here just to make sure that I'm following the rules and just get some advice, so
Sure.
that way I don't waste time and money, or the seller's time on
Mhm.
this project as well. So it's my understanding that if everybody's okay with this, I'm not within the 100 foot, that's typical. I know it's 200 feet for, I believe, vernal stream.
Yeah, 200 feet for perennial stream and Great Pond, 100 feet for
And I don't know
water.
how to identify the 200 foot issue.
Is there any-
I don't know if it identifies
The
that.
Great Ponds in Sutton, that you don't have to worry about, because it's Manchog, Ramshorn, Singletary, and Stevens, those are the only four.
Okay, so 100 feet, and I think we should be good.
And Stevens technically isn't, but it is in our town, right?
It's,
Because of-
it is because of our bylaw.
Because of our bylaw, right?
The blue represents the solar panels. I wasn't thinking to put the actual
Okay.
blocks on there, but it's straight back. And then the orange would represent the trees that I would need to cut out
Yep.
to be able to allow enough sunlight to hit the solar panels. And it's about 30,000 square feet, so under an acre of trees would come out. And then it would just be cut grass underneath the panels in that whole area. The installation process would be using helical piles, no cement at all. Helical piles are just big screws that just go into the ground.
Yep.
They you know, suffice the engineering purposes, and the panels would sit there. The solar panels would be using silicone solar panels, glass and aluminum, no cadmium telluride or anything that's considered dangerous. So very, you know, safe materials would be going on the site. So I don't even know if the rules are, if this, I would assume it has to be approved because there's wetlands on the property. But if I stay over 100 feet, I'm not asking for a variance because it's not going under 100
As
feet.
far as our board just is concerned about the wetland, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, so I don't know, like,
You
what
should
I
ask
need to
Jen
do.
Hager about the actual solar thing, cause they went round and round with some projects in town.
Yeah.
And she's in planning, but if you're more than 100 feet away, we have no jurisdiction on it, so you're good to go as far as we're concerned.
Okay.
The only thing that I see on this, and you're gonna chuckle, but directly to the north of this, I believe, that is an airplane runway.
Okay.
And I just read something in the paper about somebody wanted to do a solar thing and they were worried about the glare for the airplanes, so you gotta do your
Yeah.
due diligence
Do
with
my
that.
due diligence. I think this would fall under residential, just like putting. in
Yeah, I
buildings.
don't know, but.
So I think we'd be okay.
Yep.
And then, so from here, I just work with the building department, get a permit and move forward.
Yep.
So because I'm over 100 feet, there's nothing I have to, do I have to do any type of wetlands assessment or anything?
You should, yeah. You should have somebody do the,
Yeah, we
do the
definitely have
delineation.
wetlands, according to the GIS overlay and a soil overlay. According to this, in the western half of the property. And I always take that with a grain of salt. Could be a little bit bigger, it could be a little bit
Yeah.
smaller. And, yeah, I recommend that you do get the wetland professional on the property.
And in your experience, that green line, how accurate is that? I mean, it's on the GIS mapping. so-
eh,
Yeah, it's a guide.
it's close. It's not exact.
It's a guide, it's
Yeah.
not exact.
Okay.
The yellow lines, I think, are a little more exact, but even then, that's still a guide.
Okay. And so it's a recommendation to get the delineation, because if I don't, and then you guys feel there's an issue.
I have a funny
get
feel,
fined for it.
I
Is
mean,
that how it works?
you should, absolutely, but I think that your application through planning, they're gonna make you, I would think that they're gonna,
Okay.
so you should just do it.
Just plan on that.
Yeah,
for the
just plan on
The
that.
way
as
you
an
get
expense.
fines is if you just keep working, when somebody says stop.
Right, right.
There's no fines for doing it, and then asking for forgiveness, I guess.
Can we think
Not
of any
supposed
other
to say that.
boards, should we
Yeah,
send,
there are.
well, planning board, we
Well,
can
like-
speak to Jen, and John Kuchar in building, but other than that,
There's no Board of Health issue here.
Oh.
I think it's a good use of the land. Makes it productive. And
I
it protects
completely
the
agree, but
environment
some
around
people
it.
hate solar for some reason, so I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time, Barry.
Thank
Have
you,
a great night.
appreciate that.
kept it at 5 minutes too, look at
That was
that.
6 minutes, no, I think it was 5, I think it was 5.
Oh, have a good night.
Okay, so you have two left, 31 Carrier Lane.
I recommend issuing a certificate of compliance for 31 Carrier Lane.
Okay.
That's, Mr. Kuchar. In fact, the reason why that came up is because I did the pre-construction meeting for his son right next door.
Yeah.
For his septic system. I said, hey, has your father done his COC yet? He says, oh, I thought he did. I'll go ask him. And then obviously he didn't. And I said, well, get it in, and here it is.
Everything looks good?
Yep.
Anybody here have any issues with it?
Make motion issue certificate of compliance for 31 Carrier Lane.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have the paperwork on that? We did.
We'll
Yeah,
pass
we
the
signed that,
file
yep.
this time, it's not that big.
Is there a plan in here to sign?
We don't have to sign it.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
No as-built required.
Mhm.
That has definitely helped.
I could see it necessary on some projects, like the ones that don't give you
A real big one.
start
Well,
plan.
one thing you have that you can use is that Board of Health still requires an as-built.
Yep.
So what you can say is, listen, if you're gonna build a septic system anyway, could you please just submit the as-built for the septic? And that's what I asked for when he asked me about that.
Yep,
Yeah, I have one thing if,
absolutely.
I went to Sibley Reservoir to the meeting there with the DEP and so forth, so there were two guys in the DEP there. And, the guy who did the construction and so forth, and it looks good, but it's not completely stable. It hasn't had enough time to grow in. On the bottom part, where it's flat, they have like a plastic mesh mat. And so I asked about that, and they said, well, in a couple of years, the grass roots will grow over the top, but, it may be a problem for turtles or anything coming up there in the spring. So they are going to submit for a certificate of compliance, so when it comes in, I think it would be okay if we, okayed it with the provision that, with the condition that it be stabilized in the spring and go back and look at it in the spring, but
So that's
they-
the cut this way?
see that green part, the grass is coming up through it.
Okay.
And you'll be happy they have a bar on both sides, and it lifts up, but they're going to put something in there and padlock it,
Okay.
so they can open it up to clean it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And, so I have pictures on my computer, on my camera, but I haven't downloaded them yet, but when I do, I'll send them.
So where does the cut start? That, I know they were gonna cut the center out of it. Do we have any pictures of that?
See where that green mat is?
Yeah.
I think that's, the bottom of it, but now there's a hill on either side.
Okay.
So they hadn't
right.
put the
So it
hill,
goes up.
yeah,
And they have no that plan was to leave it like that, right? 'Cause
yes.
I know Mr. Marin wanted to.
The grass has grown in,
Restore it.
the grass has grown in and on
Okay.
either side, I'll send the pictures out
Okay.
when I download them.
Yeah, this is the most recent set of pictures I have. It's from, September 19th.
I'll send them to Wanda, and maybe if she sends them to you, you can open them, if she
Well,
sends them.
So I get them in the body of the email, and then you have to right-click it and say, save as picture, and then there's
Oh,
another
okay.
4 steps.
We're done.
Whereas if
Make a
they
motion
come as
to adjourn.
attachments, you can just
So
drag and
second.
drop.
All those in favor?
One step.
Aye.
I don't know why it's happening.
We're done.
Yeah, can you save
Yep,
it as a
we adjourned.
attachment?
Wanda.